It was back in the early 90s when South Africa decided it was time to join the global economy. The end of apartheid made way for a new democratic dispensation that needed investment to rebuild the economy.
The post-apartheid government needed to bring majority of its citizens into the economy, the main economy, where you needed to expand your infrastructure, you needed to increase education, and therefore funding was not sufficient from the savings that was available within the country. So what do you do when you have such a shortage? You go international.
South Africa went out to seek the help of international ratings agencies because a sovereign credit rating would give investors insight of the country's risk, financial standing and ability to pay back debt on any borrowings. The ANC-led government made its case and was accepted, but it had to start right at the bottom on junk. It took South Africa 7 years before all three ratings agencies saw it as a viable destination. Goodwill around South Africa's peaceful transition saw investments flowing back into the country.
Trevor Manuel began to cut back on government debt, began to cut back on government expenditure to raise taxes, and that the country's economic growth rate accelerated, which meant that tax revenue growth also accelerated, and as a result it was able to reduce its public debt from a level of over 50% of GDP in 1997-98. We got to a point in 2007 where the growth rate was well over 5%.
But the growth spurt was rudely interrupted in 2008.
The global financial recession in 2008-09 forced South Africa into a recession, and the government, in order to try and mitigate against the full effects of the recession, started spending money at a very rapid rate. Growth soon fell off quite sharply. As a result, growth in government revenue fell off sharply.
But in 22 years, South Africa has never once defaulted on its debt or been downgraded to junk, unlike BRIC countries Brazil and Russia. It's a good track record that international ratings agencies are cognizant of.
The BRICS countries in general have higher debt rate than South Africa. Particularly if you look at South Africa's total debt to GDP that comes from external sources. South Africa performs better than the others because only about 11–12% of South Africa's total debt comes from external debt. From that standpoint, South Africa is better. But in other instances, such as growth, South Africa is growing far less than the BRICS countries, and that is a problem.
It goes back, though, to what the ratings agencies actually do. They assess the risk of a country and the government's ability to pay back debt. That then lies in capability, and the question then presents itself. Is South Africa versatile enough to lift itself out of this quagmire? Sumitra Nydoo, CCTV, Johannesburg.